There are a lot of creepy cults out there that form under the control of one leader. For the most part, history has shown us that these cults are all bark and no bite, and usually don't act on the belief systems they adopt. However, some of these cults have, and by doing so have left us with some pretty chilling memories. So for that reason, I've decided to compile a list of just that. So sit back, relax, grab a shoe, and join me for the 10 creepiest cults of all time. Number 10 is the Vampire Clan. It's not uncommon for certain teenagers to have obsessions with dark things. However, it is uncommon for a teenager to claim that he's a 500-year-old vampire and start a clan of around 5 members revolving around that strange statement. That's exactly what Rod Ferrell did. One of the clan members, Heather Wendorf, was obsessed with this teenager claiming to be a vampire. They would often perform rituals together and drink each other's blood and other strange things. At one point, Wendorf contacted Ferrell and said that she was sick of her home. Ferrell said he would save her, however this did not turn out to be what Wendorf thought he was going to do. Rod Ferrell and 3 other members of the Vampire Clan went to Heather Wendorf's house and ended up killing her mom and her dad. He was sentenced to death, which was later reduced to a life sentence. Wendorf was the only member of the clan to not be charged with anything, as she had no idea what Rod Ferrell was going to do. Number 9 is the Children of Thunder. Taylor Heltzer was a teenage member of a Mormon church who got kicked out for drinking and taking drugs. After this, he started claiming that he was having visions and wanted to start his own cult but had no money to do so. So he got his brother Justin to help him get the money. They did so by going to an old couple's house where they blackmailed them and forced them to sign checks for $100,000. After which they killed the old couple. Taylor also killed his girlfriend at the time and also his girlfriend's mother. Eventually they were caught, with Justin Heltzer being sentenced to life and Taylor Heltzer being sentenced to death. The brother who was sentenced to death ended up committing suicide in 2013 after he hung himself in his prison cell. Number 8 is Heaven's Gate. Also considered an apocalyptic cult, this group believed that UFOs were coming and the world was ending. It was founded by Marshall Applewhite in California. The group followed Applewhite's instructions religiously, doing whatever he said whenever he said it. Unfortunately, it was taken to an extreme when, in 1997, Applewhite said that a UFO was coming and the world was ending. He told all of the cult members to kill themselves, and 38 cult members did just that, including himself. Number 7 was the Carnival Cult. The Carnival Cult were a satanic cult established in the early 90s. They were all employed for an American traveling carnival. One of the carnival employees, William Anthony Alt, wanted in. However, the cult rejected him. That's when he decided to use blackmail as a tactic for getting in. Alt knew about an 18-year-old boy that the cult had sacrificed and said he would tell the appropriate authorities unless he was allowed in. The cult handled this in a different way, driving Alt up to a nearby mountain range where they said he was going to be initiated. Instead, he was brutally murdered, and one of the cult members' fathers actually tipped the police off to finding the scene of the crime. Everybody in the cult was arrested. Number 6 is Black Jesus. After Stephen Tari left school, he went deep into the mountains in Papua New Guinea and started calling himself Black Jesus. He managed to establish a cult revolving around him with around 6,000 members. Eventually, it got dark after a 13-year-old girl was sacrificed by the command of her mother. Because of this, a nearby village raided Tari's cult and gave up Tari to the authorities. In 2013, he escaped from prison and went to another nearby village. There, he killed a 5-year-old girl, and this time the village took matters into their own hands when they decided to sentence Tari to death without consent from the authorities. Number 5 is the Family. One of the most famous cults of all time, the Family was led by Charles Manson. Manson commanded the Family to go on ruthless killing sprees. In the summer of 1969, over a period of 5 weeks, Manson and his followers committed 9 murders. Although Manson didn't kill anybody personally, in 1971 he was found guilty of conspiracy, and because of the joint responsibility rule, he was able to be convicted for all 9 murders. He's currently serving a life sentence in prison for murder and conspiracy, and is 80 years of age. Number 4 is the Chicago Rippers. Known as a satanic cult, the Chicago Rippers were led by Robin Gecht, who was a former employer of the serial killer John Wayne Gacy. They had a decent amount of members, and over its lifespan, the cult were responsible for the death of 18 women. The gruesome tactics they used when killing the women were also very chilling, as they would mutilate the bodies after they killed them. Number 3 is the Branch Davidians. This cult was founded in 1959 by David Koresh. They're most famous for their standoff with the Department of Alcohol, Firearms and Tobacco that occurred in 1993. The 51-day siege resulted in the deaths of the leader, David Koresh, and 82 other Branch Davidian men, women and children, along with 4 agents. Number 2 is the People's Temple of the Disciples of Christ. Founded in 1955 by Jim Jones, the People's Temple is most known for the events that occurred in November of 1978. After Congressman Louis Ryan apparently went to the People's Temple to try and convince people to leave the cult, Jim Jones got the cult to kill him, after which he feared that the members of the cult would be abducted, so he ordered a mass suicide in which 918 people killed themselves. And number 1, the Children of God. Founded in 1968 by David Berg, the Children of God was a cult that preached against evolution and the rising fall of morals. However, that wasn't the most chilling aspect of the cult. Berg also preached against anti-pedophilia laws and used very young females to lure in new members. He considered an adult having sex with a child to be a divine right everyone should have. After his death, the organization was changed drastically. However, it is still viewed as a cult. And that's it for this top 10. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button. I'll leave a link down below to all of the creepy top 10s I have done, and I will see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed your shoe. Have a good one.